All right, welcome to an extra bonus episode of Let's Camp Barstool. We're going to be running through the Oscar nominations. I know we dropped an episode earlier. It's one of those things. You sometimes stuff just slips your mind, and the Oscar nominations for me. It's one of those three stupid things that me personally I always forget. Just like I forget how like national championships on like a Monday because I don't watch college football as much. The
Yeah.
Oscar nominations, I'm like, oh, I always forget that they're going to drop Bo and Yang announcing names at 5 in the morning Pacific on a Thursday. Like it's just one of those things that just it
Yeah.
slips. Sometimes, even if you're into movies, it slips the mind. Uh,
It's one of the bigger like mismanage it. Like it's just the Academy just really does not know what the fuck they're doing in any situation.
Never.
Because continuing to do these nominations at 5:30 Pacific time is so fucking absurd.
Hmm.
Uh I had to wake up and like do it this morning. Central time, not nearly as bad, 7:30, but it's so outdated. They're like, yeah, we got to get these noms out so we can get on the morning news.
Yeah, it's just
Like, who the fuck cares?
no one cares.
Do it at
Dude,
4 o'clock. Do it at noon.
do it 7 at night. Do it like fucking like an
And
aside through like a 30-minute thing. You do it 7 at night, Eastern time. Fucking someone's gonna
and
watch
then
it.
they do it in like it takes like 15 minutes. They don't even like there's no pageantry to it at
No,
all. They're just like, here are the noms,
they're
which
just
I
reading it and
kind of respect, but
yeah. It's reading it and then watching Bo and Yang make a terrible joke. Like it's like that's it. It's like it's all you get out of it. So fucking dumb,
yeah.
dude. And by the way, I was thinking about it the other day. There, and this is maybe just like a generational, and we've talked about this like sort of phenomenon with SNL before. Like there are so many members of this SNL cast, like I just don't understand. Like I don't get at all. And Bo and Yang is definitely one of them. Like I don't think Bo and Yang as a person has made me laugh once.
Yeah, no, I see what crowd he hits with. Like Gen Z girlies, I think is like his target area.
Sure.
But yeah, he doesn't move the needle.
Him, the what's her name? Is it Chloe Trost? Uh, no, that's not her. Who's
You're
there's a
thinking of
couple other people.
Chloe. There's a Chloe Feynman.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, who I don't get at all. There's Heidi, whatever Heidi. What's the Heidi something?
Heidi Gardner?
That's
No,
what I
that's a
thought
South
too.
Park character. Not a South
It is
Park
Heidi
character.
Gardner. Yeah, like Heidi Gardner, I don't understand at all, and she's just in commercials every time, like all these things, and like there's nothing she's made me laugh in. Same thing with the Feynman. Like I just don't. There's a lot of people in this cast where I'm like, what am I missing here? What am I missing? But yeah, anyway, that's minor SNL talk. But Rachel Sennett, good for you. Loved you getting on there. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, let's talk about the Oscar nominations. I think maybe we could start bottom to top. Would be better than and save the good stuff for last. Would be the better way to do it. That they always say, at least in the blogging world, that's how you're supposed to do it. Like you should do, start with number 10, go to one, make people read through the entire thing. So maybe let's apply that like logic
Yeah.
here, I guess. So that means that we could start with sound, the least appreciated, I guess, of the Oscar nominations. And the sound nominations this year were A Complete Unknown, Dune Part Two, Emilia Perez. We talking a lot about Emilia Perez today, and Wicked and The Wild Robot. So the sound nominations. This is always kind of like tough for me to like. I'm not sure predict. I guess right. Yeah, they're tough to predict. I would say.
Yeah, it's not something I mean, I probably should pay more attention to it. It's not like I mean, these people work hard on it, but it's definitely not something I'm like wired into.
Yeah. The
Like,
right now the heavy money like all the prediction it would be Dune. It's like I'll be doing like most of my like I would say my like what I would want to win versus the what the favorites are different. The favorites would be from like Gold Derby. My brain would be somewhere else. Dune is the heavy favorite.
yeah, yeah, which is good. I don't care too much about the gambling odds. If you want to tap into that, Jeff covers it extensively.
Yeah,
Uh, I'll talk more about like what I think should win. I think Doom Part Two should run away with it. I'm happy
yeah.
the odds are the way they are because I mean it's one of the best sounding movies in the past like decade, 2 decades. Like it's crafted so perfectly. The machines, the whirring, the everything. Loved it. So
Mhm.
good call there. Also in there though, Emilia Perez sneaking into this category is just such like what the fuck is going on with this movie? Name a sound. Name a like a moment in that movie where you're like, wow, this sounds great.
I'm trying to think of like where it comes from. You know what I mean? Like I don't know where
Yeah.
you
Wild
where
Robot, a
within
cool
that movie.
nomination.
Yeah,
Wild Robot, a pretty cool as an animated feature. I do think it sounded great too. Like that's a movie where I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Sounded fantastic.
yeah.
Amelia Perez, I'm like, what the fuck? Where the fuck are they pulling this?
I don't know where I can't think of like a sound from Emilia Perez where I was like, wow, that was impressive, or like, wow, that was important to the story, or wow, that was like interesting. Nothing. Like if you wanted to say like music, sure, like some sort of general thing there, but that's just not never the case in the movie.
No.
Don't get it. I think we could skip a couple, like we could skip a lot of these like animated shorts or live shorts because it's
Yeah.
people haven't really seen them. Costume design, Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Wicked, runaway favorite. I would say yes. Like I understand where that comes from because it is like such a specific world you got to create, and I think they did a good job with it. I think at the same time, out of this, like Nosferatu's was unbelievable. Conclaves was really good. Gladiators was whatever. Complete Unknown is like whatever. Like, but I think if I had to pick between the two, I would have gone with Nosferatu or Conclave.
I think Nosferatu should be the winner here. I'm not sure where the odds are, but I do think Nosferatu is a good bet because in this category, the costumes traditionally they really love to reward movies that incorporate the costume design into the feature, which I think Nosferatu does in spades. Beautiful costume design. I've talked about it. We talked about it nonstop. How Eggers was so committed to historical accuracy. That combined with Lily Rose Depp's transformation through the movie, I think it should win. It should win here. Wicked is good. This is a good nom for Wicked. There's some that I'm really going to disagree with down the line as we move through, but Wicked definitely belongs here. And I don't hate the Gladiator nom either,
Yeah.
uh, despite how inaccurate it might be. Uh, very lush. Love the love the sword and sandal stuff.
Wicked has a 30 30 experts predict Wicked winning. Zero predict
Oh,
Nosferatu.
oh.
It's tough.
What in that movie? I mean,
Like it does, like the costumes look good. It's just like but I'm trying to think
they
of like
do.
which who had a more difficult job. Like yeah, I would say is the Nosferatu crew for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like
That's
somebody who knows better could do some sort of like detailed breakdown. And I would bet you that all those costumes were like to the thread, like historically accurate.
hmm Yeah.
Best visual effects, Alien Romulus. We could talk about that in a bit. Alien Romulus, because that was we could just talk about it now. It was very funny. Fede Alvarez coming out and being like, "Don't worry, guys, we fixed Rook in post, and we made the AI look better. We didn't have enough time." And it's like, brother, that wasn't the problem. That was that was not the problem with adding in. It was Ian Holm adding him into the movie. We
Yeah.
didn't want him. Period. It was not like how it looked. So I don't know. That was odd.
That was yeah, no, that's interesting. Like everyone, at least on like, film Twitter, film TikTok, whatever social media you're on, where people talk about movies, and everyone is up in arms about the AI stuff.
Yeah.
Every indication out of Hollywood is that they do not give a
Not
fuck.
a shit.
They are gonna, it is coming, and I don't think there's much we can do to stop it from the outside. Like
Yeah,
they're
film tour
all
is a
bought in
very
on it.
limited bubble, which I think people don't totally realize. Like money is the ultimate
Yeah,
motivator, and they do not care.
yeah,
But I would say it all that stuff aside, Alien Romus's effects were really cool, especially considering the budget was like sub 100
yeah.
million. Like that was really good stuff. Especially like we mentioned even on our last episode, the scene where they're floating through the acid, crazy.
Oh, great stuff.
Better Man got a nom. Our beautiful Robbie Williams monkey. Like
Sure.
I'll give it credit in that like the depth, like the amount of CGI they had to pump into it. Like you're doing full movie CGI monkey. That's a lot to have to do and to integrate it into live action. That's tough. Nothing like where I'm like, holy shit, that's special. Like I'm more impressed with how every single Planet of the Apes movie did it than I am by how they did it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. And even King of the Planet of the Apes, at what point do we
Yeah.
just stop awarding Weta for making their monkeys look better? Like this is just Weta. This
Yeah.
is two different Weta monkey movies.
Yeah. And I think the ones that
Like,
they
does
did
the
in
trick ever run dry? Like
the weird thing is, I
ever?
think they did it better in the other movies, which required more monkeys than this movie, which was just one monkey. Although I guess the monkey had to do all
Yeah.
the singing and shit, so yeah, it's harder.
If I had to pick one here, it's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I think would
Yeah.
be in terms of effects like that. The scene that sticks out to me that would be like the award winner, the clip that they play when they go up on stage or before they go up on stage would be like when the dam breaks. No, when the dam breaks and they get all wet and the
Oh yeah,
water, like
yeah.
I've never seen water look so perfect on like fur, CGI fur. Like it looks so realistic. It's unbelievable.
You know what looked really good too, and I feel like this is usually hard in most movies. The nighttime sequence where they're like running around with the torches, like early in the movie,
Hmm.
like that looked really good too, and I feel like that rarely looks good. Um,
Yeah.
Dune Part Two also nominated, and that is going to be the runaway favorite without a question to win. Kingdom of
Hmm.
the Planet of the Apes, which we just talked about, and then Wicked. Wicked's not did nothing for me. Like their special effects were like I would say fine is the ceiling of the special effects that at least that my personal taste when I watch that movie. I would say Dune Part Two is like
You
here.
you weren't impressed by the Peter Dinklage goat?
No, no, particularly not
No.
particularly. Even the monkeys, the fucking like nothing about it was
Yeah,
didn't.
that was this is one of those things where Wicked, I don't think it belongs here at all. Um, the Wicked nominations make a lot more sense to me. Like the sneaks make a lot more sense to me for Wicked than they do for Emilia Perez.
Yeah,
Just because Wicked, you got to remember this is being voted on by theater kids.
yeah.
These are theater kids through and through and down the line that are voting on this shit. They're gonna vote for Wicked in places that it shouldn't be. This is one of them. It did like especially towards the end. If you just watch that, by itself, the Defying Gravity sequence, I think, does not really hold up that well. Uh,
Visually, no. Like I think the moment itself is great, and it's let down by the
yes,
visual, if that makes sense.
yes, that makes complete sense. It kind of reminded me a bit of like WandaVision when they go up in the sky and they start
Sure, yeah.
throwing, beams of light at each other. Like cool moment, maybe. Uh, visually, just kind of not doing anything for me.
Yeah. This just reminds me of, or makes me think about how inevitable this exact feeling will have when they make a Hamilton live action movie, which I'm sure will happen eventually. Like, well, live act, you know what I'm saying? Hamilton adaptation for
Oh,
the film. When they do that, it is going to be bad, and it is going to get a trillion nominations, no matter what. It's going to happen. Like you got to accept
it
it now.
is.
Yeah. So that's visual
Oh,
effects. Dune Part Two, the runaway favorite, followed uh very far close or far away second place Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Makeup and hairstyling. Makeup and hairstyling. A Different Man again. Don't no. I don't like visual effects. I kind of understand makeup and hairstyling. Nothing about that really screamed like wow, how'd they do
what?
that? Like it's a CGI monkey. Everyone else has just kind of looked like a normal '90s person.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's such a weird spot to nominate it. Sure.
Emilia Perez again is one where it's like if it felt like more we needed to throw one in here then like we felt genuinely impressed by anything that we saw. Nosferatu, which sure, yes, absolutely. There, because again, there's so much detail put into all of the stuff there. The Substance, which is the big time favorite, and Wicked, which again, it's another one where it's just the volume of makeup and
That's
hairstyling stuff is heavy.
that's just that's a gross category, I'll be honest. There's a
Yeah,
lot like just off the top of my head, I'm thinking through like A Different Man, for instance. Fantastic. That would have been a great pick. Even stuff like Dune Part 2, I think, like is a good pick there between the Harkonnens, the Atreides, the Fremen. There's a lot of work done there. Emilia Perez, Better Man. What the fuck is going on with
if you
these?
told me wait, no, sorry, wait. I fucked up. It's a different man, not a better not better man.
Oh,
There's too
okay,
many man
okay,
movies. I
okay.
fucked
A
that up. My
different,
bad, my bad.
there it
It
is.
was a different man, not a
A,
better man. Which a different
a
man,
different
yes.
man for sure. If I had to pick, yeah, Substance, I think did the best work this year. Even
Yeah.
if it's not your cup of tea, I think it's astounding what they did.
And Better Man too, the mass like all the beginning, the first half of the movie where they have all that stuff, like that's super impressive. But then I guess the second half you don't really have any of that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Um the Emilia Perez, it's like if you told me everyone in Emilia Perez showed up with like just whatever they were wearing that day, like makeup and hairstyle wise, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Like if they didn't even
Yeah.
have a department, all right. Like I don't know. But again, Substance runaway favorite, and that makes sense because that was obviously a huge part of like it's a character kind of within the movie and
Mhm.
I guess in its own way, right?
Yes, I think the substance is runaway. Like, what is it? Probably probably had to bet like $10 to get back one on that
Hmm.
one. Like, uh, probably a lock.
Big
Uh,
favorite, big
like
favorite.
that's very close to a as close as you can get.
International feature film. I'm Still Here. From Brazil. I haven't seen that one. But I've heard
That's like the one I haven't.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about it though. I'm the girl, or sorry, the girl with the needle from Denmark. Have not seen that one either. There's a lot in, or two. These are the only two I haven't seen on this list. Emilia Perez again, and again the biggest favorite here in this category because for reasons beyond our comprehension. The Seed of the Sacred Fig, which we have now. You saw it, right? Yeah, I
Yep,
mean, very,
great.
very, very good movie. Like, if I were to put them like on a scale of like 1 to 10, like Seed of a Sacred Fig is at like a 9.5, and Emilia Perez is at like a 4. And like
Yeah,
the fact that they're in the same category at all is fucking crazy. And then Flow is very, very good. Um,
yeah. No,
don't
flow ruled.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not. I guess they don't have a separate category for it. I would have even just put it straight into the animated. I guess I don't know, but
It did. It got
it is
both.
okay. Sorry, so that makes some more sense. Yeah,
Um, which, by the way, did you see his the director watching the nominations this morning?
what do you say?
He just like him and his dog on his bed in his like small little apartment, just watching. And the dog is like looks just like the dog from the movie, so
Yeah,
he's adorable. The dog is just like asleep, and he like he like just shakes the dog when they get announced. It's very funny.
very lovable
But
movie too.
in this category, like I said, haven't seen I'm Still Here. I'm pretty excited for that. Fernando Torres is apparently just amazing. And if you're watching on YouTube today, the Brazilians were dominating the YouTube chat feature,
Jaws in the chat,
dominating it.
baby.
Yes. Um, Big disappointment for me at least, and I think for you, and really, I think anyone who's 2030s male is No Kneecap.
Yep,
Um,
very good movie.
a very broy movie, I think, on its surface. The surface level stuff with that movie really hurt it, but it's like a really well made movie, like really well made, thought out, great music. Like I would have given it multiple nominations. Didn't come away with anything. It's a shame. If you haven't seen Kneecap yet, do yourself a favor. If you're somebody who listens to this regularly, it's on Netflix. Yeah,
Oh, so yeah,
um,
definitely watch it.
definitely, definitely watch it. Great stuff. Sad it didn't get in there. That's bad.
Very, very sad because that was a very good movie, and especially, I feel like if I had to take a wild guess, out of not just like the LCB but also the Barstool audience, the amount of people that say that are Irish American in some regard is very high.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that too.
if that's you, you should definitely go and watch Kneecap. Very very good movie, entertaining too. On top of all that, film editing, Anora, which yeah, I mean like I'm trying to think of like where I'm like, wow, how they do that. There are sequences in Anora where it makes you really feel that sort of, and we mentioned this in our review of it, like that sort of uncut gems like anxiety. And a lot of that does have to do with editing. So sure, yeah, I totally get that. The Brutalist,
Yeah,
Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. Um, so
Wicked here, Wicked here. What the? Like I said, it makes sense because of who's voting on this.
yeah,
Wicked does not belong anywhere close to this, and obviously Amelia Perez neither. I think
yeah.
you can guess how we feel about that movie at this point.
How about Dune?
Neither of those, I think. Dude, yeah, absolutely, great editing. Um, there's a lot more I would have put here, like just like 20 other movies I would have put in there before those two.
So Dune actually was the heavy favorite, like the by far the biggest favorite to be nominated for best film editing. Did not get nominated, and then after that, it's Conclave and The Brutalist are like neck and neck for who would win. But I'm sure that
Mhm.
now changes with the fact that Dune's not involved. So not sure.
Yeah, I would have also liked to, I think this could have been a great spot for challengers too.
Sure. Yeah, Challengers really did
Um,
not get shit.
yeah, no, they did not care for it at all. It might the early year release, I
Yeah.
think people are saying that. I don't think that bias is as strong as it used, or at least I didn't think it was.
Everything Everywhere all at
But
once really changed that, but I feel like it changed our perception of it, but it maybe it still is bigger than we think it is.
yeah, I think that and Parasite, but those were drawn. I guess the releases were very drawn out by A24, like
Yeah.
an early release in the summer or spring, and then it just continues to extend wider and wider. Whereas, Dune and Challengers just kind of came out and
Yeah.
stayed in theaters for a month and then left.
So
Um,
Amelia Perez and Wicked, we were both in agreement. Don't totally get it. I think Nora Brutalist and Conclave, like yeah, editing is an important part of their success and like why they were good.
mhm.
If I had to pick out of those, like I kind of would agree, sort of like in the chalky sense, like Brutalist and Conclave would be two where it's very important. And the Brutalist, that's kind of like a tougher one too, because like it's a 3 hour movie with an intermission. So like
Mhm.
some people might claim that like oh well you can't how can you be that good at editing, I guess. But at the same time, like I don't feel at any point during the Brutalist was I like, yeah, you could have cut this. Yeah, you could have moved on from you could have like what why is this has no bearing on the rest of the movie. Like everything was pretty important. So I don't know.
Yes, and the way Brady Corbet has kind of positioned the movie, at least campaign wise, is smart because he's made it like a win for the Brutalist is a win for artist and creative control.
Yeah.
Like him having final cut on that movie, I think really might play to the Academy, or at least the voters in the Academy. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I would agree. But I would say but I'm fine with any of those top three and or Brutalist Conclave winning.
yeah.
Cannot be like
Anyone but Emilia. Like,
yeah,
I'll take Wicked. I'll take Wicked over Emilia Perez in that category.
I would
Like,
agree. Best production design, The Brutalist, which yes, I mean he came out and said the AI shit was not real as far as
yeah.
production design, so that's I think a non-factor. I think the sets looked amazing. Like some of
Mhm.
this, like the architecture wise stuff, like and on top of that, like also like making the world seem like you're actually in like post-war United States, like that.
Mhm.
That stuff all looked amazing. The Conclave, which again, you feel like when you're watching Conclave, like you're in the middle of the fucking Vatican. Like I don't know how they did it. I don't know where they
Yeah.
shot it. I don't know how they pulled that shit off. It really feels
In
very
Rome.
deliberate. Yeah, and that's
Shot at Cineteca, which
at what?
is, yeah, it's called Cineteca. It's in Rome. I thought about when I was there over the summer, I thought about going out there because they do tours of the lot.
Uh,
Big, big, big studio out there. But yeah, no, they did that. It really does feel like you're right in it.
yeah, it's incredible. Dune Part Two, which again, that is it's such a massive part of the feel. It's like you feel like you're immersed in that world. Nosferatu, which we talked at length about Nosferatu, just and how important that is to the and how it's kind of like a character to a degree within the movie. And then Wicked again. Wicked by far the biggest favorite out of all of these, by a huge margin, followed by The Brutalist. If I was gonna be like, which one of these, out of these, what is had the most impressive production design. Like Nosferatu and Conclave are the two where I'm like that. It was so important for the movie that those were pulled off correctly, and they were. And there's so much
Mhm.
detail put into it, and you feel it really. It makes you so much more immersed. Wicked's just kind of like yeah, it looks good. It's like big Willy Wonka CGI slop. Like I don't like that's not super impressive to me. Like on the scale, sure, but like on the as far as like what I'm looking at, like not crazy. And then I would say like Brutalist too, like right there.
Yeah, no, I understand the Wicked nomination. I know they, despite what it looks like, they did, it's mostly practical. Those sets are. So I get that. It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. So not really what I'd like to see win. I'm with you, Nosferatu. I think it's right at the buzzer. In terms of production design, phenomenal stuff. But I'm really fine with any of those four winning. Would not love to see Wicked winning. Hate that it's the betting favorite. It's unfortunate. If you had to place your money, that's probably where you go, though. Wicked, you know, like I've said, the who's voting matters almost more than like
Humongously
what's
important.
on the ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Original song El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John. Never Too Late. None of these like register to me like the Like a Bird song. I had to look up to it because I was like, am I thinking of the right thing? The 6888 I hadn't seen yet. The Amelia Perez songs did nothing for me. So like I don't know. This is just kind of like a wash category for me.
Yeah, this is about as bad as original song has been in ever.
Yeah.
A bad category. Uh, with this, I mean, like we could have had like Lady Raven from Trap in here. Like this is bad. Got Lady Raven from Trap, the song from Hundreds of Beavers right at the
Wild
beginning.
Robot, dude. Wild Robot,
Well,
Kiss the Sky. That song was what do you call it? Not nominated, and it was a heavy favorite too, as well.
yeah, now I see why. I don't know if you saw the news item that they're not going to have the nominees for Best Original Song perform their songs this year. Now I get it.
Makes sense.
The-
Makes sense.
Yeah, the El Mal song will probably win this category.
It's the heavy favorite. Heavy, heavy
That
favorite.
is the best song from Emilia Perez for sure. I don't like any of the songs, so that's the best one for sure,
Yeah.
and kind of the big moment in the movie. Um, yeah, that's a weak category. Holy shit.
Yeah, real bad. Original score, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez again, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Kind of a stump here from Challengers. I thought Challengers for sure because they love
Yeah,
Resner Ross. Like I just thought that that was going to be a surefire nomination.
challengers or queer,
Yeah,
one of
that
the
too.
two.
Um, Brutalist heavy favorite too.
Makes sense. It's done by the same guy, Blumberg, who did All Quiet on the
All
Western
quiet.
Front score, which did win, correct?
If I remember correctly, yeah.
So a guy who's won in the past could probably win again. That's a category where you get a lot of, multi-time winners. John Williams infamously has kind of dominated that category, along with Zimmer. Would be a good place to place some money. What are the other what are the other ones?
The
Sorry, I
Brutalist,
know
Conclave,
Wild Robot.
Emilia Perez, Wicked, and Wild Robot. Again, we just mentioned Wild Robot with Best Original Song, kind of a snub here. Like I get, like they were, it was a very good score. I think Wicked score is good too, but that's also just like that. You're kind of, it's done for you.
Is that the
So like,
score?
yeah, like
Yeah, like
it's done for you already to a degree. So I don't totally get it.
that's kind of bullshit. That I'll be honest, that's fucking bullshit that Wicked can be nominated in this category, but Dune can't. Like that's like
Yeah,
Wicked is a pre-existing. It's pre-existing material. It's a fucking Broadway play. It's the most popular Broadway play of the 21st century.
yeah.
There's been a million different renditions of that goddamn musical, and like we're acting like this is an original score.
But they didn't have Cynthia Erivo going ho 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 ho. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Just keep that in mind. You see, she wants to play Storm. No,
fuck
just gonna
no,
say that right now.
absolutely not.
No.
Give me
Uh,
some Zendaya.
you know she also I didn't know this until like a couple months ago. I didn't know she broke up some other lady's marriage. Did
Yep.
not. She's a homewrecker. I didn't know that about
Yeah.
Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Her partner now also is like kind of like off the like she goes at people. Let's put it that way.
mm.
Yeah.
Um. So the Brutalist, Conclave, Amelie Perez, Wicked, Wild Robot. If I had to pick out of these, like the Brutalist was like it fit perfectly for the movie, so I would not have an issue with that winning. I do think Conclave was really good too, but maybe not as impactful.
hmm
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I listened to that Brutalist score, the opening,
Yeah,
pretty often. It's a nice little dun 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 dun.
gets you like rolling into the period pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Best animated feature film: Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I'm sure the discussing film people are thrilled about that. The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot is the overall heavy favorite, and I would say in my head, it's Flow and Wild Robot are like right neck and neck, and
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with Wild Robot winning.
Yeah, Wild Robot or Flow. I would place some money on Flow here. If you can get plus odds there. Flow seems to be a lot of these voting bodies like favorite animated feature in a while. They really love this movie.
Yeah.
Stephen Shea gave it out an 8 out of 10, if that
That's
gives you any
huge. The
indication.
experts love it.
It's big. And yeah, no, Wild Robot also fantastic. A very weak year for animated feature,
Yeah.
especially compared to last year where you had, what was it, Boy and the Heron, uh, Across the Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
a few others. Very strong year last year. This year, obviously not as much.
I mean, if you got Wallace and Gromit in the category, you're in tough shape. Yeah, I think we're in agreement.
Yeah.
Flowing. Not, and that's no disrespect to Inside Out 2, which is also fine, or Memoir of a Snow, which I've admittedly not seen. Cinematography, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu, with The Brutalist being the heavy, heavy favorite to win. If I was gonna pick between this grouping of five, it's The Brutalist or Dune Part 2. And like if I'm
Mhm.
thinking who had the more difficult job, it was probably Dune Part 2, but like at the same time, cinematography is like basically like we keep talking about like or at least I keep talking about the being a character of the movie. Like that is a humongous feature of The Brutalist and why it's so good. So I would be totally fine with Brutalist winning.
Yeah, Brutalist, Doom Part 2, or Nosferatu all would be great wins. I do think Mukta Prom got really fucking shafted here. The cinematographer on Trap, Challengers, and do you do Queer also? But he had a tremendous year and got shut out. I think the Challengers cinematography
People love that tennis ball
fantastic.
shot, man.
I think Trap, for all its faults, was a fantastic looking movie. Tough
Yep.
to see him get snubbed here. Um, but yeah, no, this is a fine category. Wicked getting in there too. Was that Wicked you said?
Um, no, Nosferatu,
Sorry.
Emilia Perez, and Maria.
It's probably just Maria. That's the one.
That's the
Have you
Jolie one.
seen Maria?
The
Hmm.
Jolie one? No, I haven't seen it
Have
yet.
you? Me neither. Uh, I
That's fine.
had holding my tongue on that, but that does not feel like it's probably
In the
something that
same
should be
league
in
as The
there.
Brutalist or Dune Part 2, tough to say. Emilia Perez, definitely not. I mean, like, you're talking, again, the pure amount of cash they must have thrown into this campaign for this movie must have been unbelievable. Like, enough to, like, corrupt a government. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I cannot, for the life of me, figure it out. And so, but whatever.
Well,
Uh,
why do you think our Netflix subscriptions just went up $2 a month
yeah, if I
this
can guess
past
so.
week?
That's like the
We
same
got
thing with
bills to
like
pay.
Emily in Paris. Like Emily in Paris, like they flew out all of the Golden Globe and Emmys people to
Yeah.
Paris for like these big events for Emily in Paris, and they're like, "Wow, look, we got nominated against." Yeah, fucking wonder why, dude. Okay, so just whatever, dude. By the way, I caught up on the most recent season of that, and still bad,
Still bad?
still bad. It's like the only thing that's good about it is like you get to look at some scenery in like South France and stuff, and that looks cool. Everything else is dog shit. Utter dog shit.
Yeah.
Also watched, speaking of, we were talking about the substance before. I never finished The Maid. I finished The Maid, and then it had me thinking because obviously Adie McDowell is the
Wally.
real life mother of Margaret Qualley, and then plays her mother in the
Mhm.
show. And then I was like, what does Margaret Qualley's dad look like? Margaret Qualley's dad is a stunner. Like this guy is
Oh yeah.
hot. He was a model for like years and years and years, and like he met McDowell on like the set or not the set, I guess. They were both Gap models, and they met on
Yeah.
like a shoot or something. It's crazy. Dude was hot. But yeah. Anyway, cinematography. Now we have best original screenplay. Honora, which is the heavy favorite. Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5, and Substance. September 5, get the fuck out of here. The Substance, the yeah, sure. A Real Pain, I think there are parts of it where it's like a little goofier, but there are like some like monologues in that movie which I think are unbelievable and very deserving as a talking about like original
Hmm.
screenplay where like yes, that deserves recognition, especially like the dinner speech like monologue that Eisenberg gives is unreal, very inspired.
Yeah.
The Brutalist for sure and Honora for sure. Honora is just like an incredibly crafted story and like to a degree in Sean Baker's comfort zone, but also to a degree like really not in his comfort zone. So like I was very impressed by that.
Yeah. No, I think it's a big step forward for Sean Baker in terms of maybe not even step forward, but a step in a different direction than what he's put on screen so far. A Real Pain, that's a great nom for him. They obviously kind of got shut out in these next few categories we're going to talk about. Tough to see.
Yeah,
Good. The Substance, I know we talked about this before we started recording. Clearly, the Academy likes it a lot.
yeah.
People under the age of 25 really, really like it too. Good for them. And I'm cheering them on. I'm cheering the Substance on in a lot of these categories. This category does not make sense to me. I think the screenplay is probably the weakest part. It's very on the nose, really doesn't have much nuance to it at all. I
This is
get that's
none.
kind of the point, but it's not, that is its weakest point by far. Like that's the greasy wheel on that movie.
Yeah, I
Or
guess
the
so.
squeaky
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah. Everything else is pretty
Uh,
exceptional except for that.
yeah. So glad it's getting the love it just like the love that it is receiving because just the Academy never gives any horror movies this kind of love. So this is nice, but screenplay, yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief.
Uh, best adapted screenplay. A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. With Conclave being the heavy favorite, that's very understandable. What? Because that is such like a. If I'm thinking like movies that the Oscars are going to love, like as far as adapted screenplay, like that's definitely going to be one that they would love to send through as the winner, or whatever. I think. I mean, and the weird thing is, it's kind of tough to judge on adaptive screenplay if you haven't read the original material of whatever it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Isn't that kind of? It's kind of hard to be like, oh well, this is better than that. Like, well, I haven't read, a complete unknown's source. I haven't read whatever Conclave
The,
source.
the question is, do the voters aren't?
Yeah, that's also
You
true.
think the voters are reading that shit too? Like they might say they are. They're not. I know what people are like. They're not reading that shit. They're not. They might read one or two of them. But I doubt many of them have read like all of these, or seen all of these. That they, I think Emilia Perez is based on an opera. Is that right?
Based on a puddle of shit for all I
Maybe.
care, dude. But I guess a
Yeah.
better way
Conclave, good bet. Good bet here.
for our exercise though, we guess we'd say like, which one was your favorite script out of these?
Sing Sing by far.
Yeah,
Sing Sing was fantastic.
I'd be with you on that.
I don't think it's gonna win anything. A24 they put all their chips behind other movies, and Sing Sing got kind of left out,
Yeah,
which is a shame because I think it's one of the three best movies of the year, three or four. Just, it's bad campaign. It's a really bad campaign. It sucks. Sucks for
yeah,
Coleman Domingo more than anything.
agreed. I think the good thing about Coleman Domingo is like he's gonna get his day in the sun. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
clearly on that like trajectory right now.
Hmm.
Best actress in a supporting role, Monica I
Hmm.
always want to say like in my head, I keep trying to say like Hanna Barbera. You know what I mean? Like keep wanting to be like
Yeah.
Monica Barbera,
Did
Monica
Barbara?
Barbaro, Barbaro,
Like the
Ariana
horse,
Grande.
like the horse.
Yeah, Barbaro.
There was a there was a horse. There was a
You know
Kentucky
horses
Derby
better than I
winner
know
named
horses,
Barbara.
so I trust you on it, you fucking freak. Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. That's one I don't get. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, also don't get. Zoe
That
Saldana for Emilia Perez, also don't get. Um, with right now, as of right now, Zoe Saldana heavy betting favorite, followed pretty far away by Ariana Grande. Like Ariana Grande and Barbaro, I understand because they're very, especially like Ariana Grande, integral to the entire movie. Rossellini is in Conclave for 2 seconds and is not impactful. Like that's no
she
disrespect to
pulled
her.
up Google. She pulled up Google.
That's it, dude. She is a not. You could have literally took her out of the movie and replaced her with an extra, and it would have been exactly the same. You could have removed the character entirely, and it would have been exactly the same. Don't get that.
And
And it's no disrespect. Isabel Rossellini, legend. So just want to throw it out there.
I think she's gonna win. I
She
think this is a
is
good
third
spot to
right
play some money. Rossellini is a good spot to play some money. This is the acting categories, especially. This is where they really like to pull their legacy bullshit. Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, last year. like the fourth best supporting actor in her own movie,
Mm.
somehow comes away with the win and also in it for maybe 10 minutes. Rossellini is a legend. She's obviously Roberto Rossellini's daughter, Ingrid Bergman's daughter. Um,
She's very good, very talented.
been around forever. Yeah, I mean, I just watched Blue Velvet last night. She's
Yeah,
great.
I rewatched it like the day Lynch passed it. She is good, good as hell in it.
But this is the one that she's. I think this is sneaky, sneaky. Place some money
Her Jamie Lee
on
Curtis win,
Rossellini. Yeah,
like
I
legacy.
think
I'm related to famous people, and I was not the best part of this movie, but
she's like Hollywood royalty. Like people
mhm.
love her. I think this is a spot where you could see a major upset, especially with a weak field like this.
Yeah.
Um,
And Saldana's like an incredible actress, like one of the highest grossing actresses in
yeah.
history. And I think super, super talented. I don't think what she did in Emilia Perez is anything where I'm like, whoa, how
I
did you
also
do
think
that?
it's a bit of category fraud. She's a lead. She's a
Yes.
co-lead, in
Oh,
my opinion,
yes.
with Carla Sofia Garza. Like she's
Same with Ariana Grande.
arguably on screen. She's arguably on screen more than Carla Sofia Garza.
And I think you
Like
could say the
it's
same thing about Ariana Grande as well. And with Wicked, like
yeah.
she's as many lines I would guess as Cynthia Revo has. And Felicity Jones, like
Who
she
else
shows
would
up
you have liked
halfway
to
in.
see there?
What?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
How
ahead.
many other people? Let's see. Jamie Lee Curtis didn't get a nom for Last Showgirl, which fine.
No, I was gonna say, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like who else
Margaret
got
Qualley,
snubbed
people
here?
wanted for The Substance. Selena Gomez was also
Mm.
on the poll. Um,
What? She was actively bad.
yeah, I agree.
That's
I would.
I
The funny thing is, in like, we don't
ugh.
know this because we're not like neither of us are fluent in Spanish, but like Spanish speakers were like, "What the fuck is her Spanish?" Like they were like, "She can't speak Spanish when she's like doing like a heavily Spanish speaking role." Um, Sophia Wilde for Baby Girl. Leslie Manville for Back to Black. Like
Pretty weak year, honestly, now looking through it.
Haley Spaney
Uh
for Civil
Kaylee
War.
Spaney for Civil War would have been a good nom. I think that would have made sense.
She was good. It's just like it's just kind of a weak category this year, which is now the more I'm thinking about it, I think I would agree with you that this is a good time for if you're going to give Isabella Rossellini a legacy Oscar, this is the one.
Yeah, man, there's not a lot of great supporting female actresses this year, unfortunately.
Which is crazy because the year that Jamie Lee Curtis won, there were a lot. Like that was yeah, whatever.
And yeah, usually the supporting categories are much stronger.
Yeah, because it's like you get to really pack your punch into like a shorter amount of screen time, and like that's not the case for these top two people, like you were just saying too, with Zoe Saldana and Ariana Grande. So I don't know. And again, Isabella Rossellini in Conclave for 20 seconds did not have enough time to do anything. So, but whatever.
Nothing.
Um, Feel bad. Again, because she's a legend. But okay, or actor in a supporting role. Yura Borisov, Kieran Culkin, sorry for Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Not a lot of snubs. Like people, I think were rightfully campaigning for Adam Pearson from A Different Man to get nominated because he was really good and
Mhm.
he was an important part of the movie's
Great.
success, especially in that second half. Um, Out of this, Kieran Culkin's the runaway favorite to win. And I out of the grouping, the only person I would be like, I'd say there's two people where I'm like, oh, they also were very important. Guy Pearce was amazing in The Brutalist. Like, it almost hard to recognize as far as like transformative. And Borisov out of nowhere just being incredibly good. But like as far as who had the harder job to do, it's like Pearson, Culkin, and I'm fine with Culkin winning.
I think Culkin is like a trap here if you're betting. I wouldn't hate him winning. I think he's really good, but him doing it's not his fault. It's what the script clearly asked for him to be, but him playing a Roman Roy type, I mean, very much type character could be something that, snags him during this voting process. So yeah, Pierce is interesting. I don't know how much the Academy loves The Brutalist. They obviously nommed it 10 times, so clearly they have some affection for it.
Hmm.
I'm
I don't
looking
know.
through this. Sorry,
It's
I've
it's
lost it.
It's tough to say.
Maybe he's
I do
not
think
first.
they like Culkin a lot though, clearly because he's got not even just the Oscars, but like award shows in general. They do love him.
Strong is interesting here. This is the one I'm going to say. The Apprentice, I did not expect to really get much love at all. I
Hmm.
think it had ended up getting two nominations. No, we're not going to bring politics into this, but I will say the post Donald Trump election, the inauguration, the political climate, this does affect awards voting.
I
They
would agree.
do
Yeah,
sometimes try to send messaging with their votes. Might be a lot more people tuning on or tuning in to watch The Apprentice more than there would have been 5 months ago. Jeremy Strong was really fucking good in that movie.
he was.
He's the best part. He's fucking fantastic. I think he's a sneaky bet here. What is he like? Probably fourth in odds, third in odds. Um,
He,
I don't hate that.
yeah,
Edward Norton being in here is kind of crazy.
whatever. He was very
But that's like just
forgettable.
like the typical, it's a musical biopic, so just keep nominating it.
Yeah, I do think Pearson should have gotten something here because the movies are kind of like
I mean, it was made for him.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was built for this. And he was very good. Like he
Yeah.
was super charming and like very like uh it's kind of like the point of the movie, but like you when you're watching it, you're like, oh, a person that is saddled with this curse or whatever you want to call it, it can just live with it and be a great, affable, nice, great,
Yeah.
charismatic person that can be in a field that you wouldn't expect. And like, I don't know, it's a very very good performance. The actress in a leading role. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Garcon for Emilia Perez, which is obviously a big deal. First openly trans person to get nominated. Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Right now, Mikey or Demi Moore is actually the favorite, and
Mhm.
followed closely by Mikey Madison. Um, this is a hard one to predict, I think, right? As far as like where they will actually go. Because like you mentioned with political messaging too, I could see them just being like, let's just give it to Carla Sofia Garcon, who wasn't, again, we are not big fans of Emilia Perez. I don't think she was ever the problem with Emilia Perez. So
No.
the I could see them just giving it to her to try another political messaging. So I don't know.
Yes. The Demi Moore stuff is really heated up. I think people are getting tricked by that Golden Globes win quite a bit. It would be a cool win for sure. Like Demi Moore out of nowhere, just winning an Academy Award. Awesome. I still think Mikey Madison is where you should be going with this. She would be by far, I think, the youngest current actress. I think the youngest current actress to win an Academy Award is still Jennifer Lawrence, and that was 8 years ago, 10 years ago.
Let's see.
No one, there hasn't been an Academy, an acting, no actor or actress born after like 91 has won yet. And I think she was born in like 99. Uh, so it would be quite the buck in the trend. But I think she is so integral to the movie. She's just clearly the star. She's run a good campaign. She's very likable. I think she's still the, I think she should still be the favorite here. I think she is the best actress this year too. I think she put on the best performance.
Yeah, I would agree. Out of the grouping that we just mentioned, she was definitely the best performance. Like Arivo again, it's a tough one where like she was very very good and like the singing is hard and like that is
Yeah.
like a big part. Oh, you don't agree? I think it was,
She's fine. I mean, like the singing's great. I think she's fine
but
acting
that's on
wise in the
acting.
movie. Like,
I agree in that to that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's tough.
she's a good actress. She is a good actress. I
Yes,
just don't think that's like that's not her best work or like that's just not a. It's not a place where she's really flexing a lot of muscles.
it was
It's
you know what
fine.
I would say and this is just kind of like a function of what the movie was. It was very good theater acting, but maybe not great movie acting,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And better movie acting, which is like that is a real person and that you need to inherit this skin is Mikey Madison and Demi Moore and Carlos Sofia Garcon, I guess, but that also you could say is more theater acting too. I don't know.
Mhm.
I would say I would agree with you in that like if I were to pick out of these, I would say Mikey Madison had the toughest job as far as range and focus and importance on the movie. Like the entire movie kind of relied on her being good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being good at her job, and she was. And that was like you want to talk about going from real not I want to say like relative obscurity, but like kind of like to that to being the star of like Sean Baker. Sean Baker, who's never missed, being a star of his movie, like that is humongous. So I don't know, very impressive.
Another another situation where the movie was just written for the actor. Because I think Baker saw her in Scream, and and he was like, I gotta write a movie for this person.
This guy, yeah.
That's how it came about.
Oh, speaking, I almost forgot with Culkin. I saw a funny story where like when Eisenberg cast Culkin, he had he cast Culkin and like he cold called him and was just like, "Hey, like I think you'd be really good for this part. Like I want to write. Would you want to do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, sure, sure." So when they go to Poland where they start the filming. He's like, "So like, what made you want to pick me anyway? Like what movies or shows of mine have you seen?" He goes, "Oh, nothing. I haven't seen any. I've never seen anything you've did." And like, what do you mean? He's like, "Well, I've seen you in Home Alone." And he's like, "I was 9. Like, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just never saw you. My wife recommended you. A couple other people I know like you, so I just thought you'd be good."
It's I love Jesse so much.
Just he's just like the perfect. I love him, dude. He's amazing. Uh, anyway, to best actor in a leading role, Adrian Brody, who's gonna win. Timothy Chalamet for Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. If I Sebastian Stan getting for that and not a different man, I feel like it's kind of crazy because he's good in The
Yeah.
Apprentice. He is great in A Different Man. So that I don't totally understand. But Adrian Brody's going to win. It's just like who's coming in second. And I would say out of the remaining options, it's like Coleman Domingo, very close. Ray Fiennes like a little bit behind there, and then Timothy Chalamet is good, no question, and Complete Unknown. Not like I don't know, he's good. And then like
It's
the rest.
like not even top five for
Oh,
him
like maybe
performance
even on the
wise.
year. It's not even top 2 on the year. It's crazy. Uh, so yeah, but
Um, yeah, no, I would have, yeah, if I picked a Chalamet role, it would have been Paul Atreides. Like that, I don't know I don't understand the trepidation in awarding that role. It's a really fucking good performance. Like it is a fantastic, iconic, will stand the test of time performance. It's Shakespearean. It's not just like campy sci-fi. It is a very serious role. I don't don't get the hate for it, or at least just the lack of love.
yeah.
Just
Uh,
campaigning. Coleman Domingo would be a great win here. I don't think enough people have seen Sing Sing. I don't think it's going to win. Ray Fiennes is sneaky here. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. I could see a situation where Brody and Chalamet split votes in terms of that race, and then you have a whole different subsect of people who are just locked in on Fiennes and want to award him.
in my brain,
Sebastian Stan for The
I
Apprentice
don't see a
also. Yeah,
planet
that's
where Brody doesn't win. I don't see a world where it's just not him.
we've already talked about it before, but I'm sure there are people who are like, well, what about the use of, because there was a use of AI, slight use, I
I don't
think,
like the
in the
accent. I'm
help of
like, come on.
accent work. It is directly affecting the performance.
It was when he was speaking in Hungarian,
Uh,
right?
yes, to the people who are screaming that at the screen right now, I do. I've said it before. I said it earlier in the episode. I do not think Hollywood gives a fuck about the AI. I do. I don't think they care. I think they're all using it. I think it's here to stay. I don't think that they're going to be punitive towards the Brody performance because of it. I just don't.
In my to me, it's if you're using AI to augment something that is already being done by an artist, which in this case is Adrian Brody. Like if he's speaking and you're using it to augment his accent to make it a little sharper and sound a little more authentic, I'm not like
Mhm.
fucking dying over that. If you're using it to like create a script, if you're using it to like create an environment, if you're using it to do like that is different. I think if you're
Yeah.
using it to make a twinge on something that you already is already like an artistic performance, then I think it's a little bit different. And to me, like the scenes in that are in Hungarian aren't the impactful scenes from Brody in the movie. And man, dude, anytime you need a Holocaust movie, Adrian Brody comes out of the tunnel like fucking 2011 LeBron, like fucking like, oh
I'm
man,
waiting for
like
this, and the pianist would be very funny.
yeah. Dude,
I,
he's a Holocaust actor. That's just him. He looks like he is consistently in the Holocaust.
he's just rail thin.
He's just rail thin. He's got the features, and then that's the funniest thing about it to me is like Felicity Jones is just not a. You look at that woman. That woman's never been in a Holocaust. Never in her life. I would
Yeah,
never believe that she's in the Holocaust.
she struggles with her accent.
Yeah.
Her accent work is kind of bad. I
Yeah.
thought, at least on second viewing, I was like, this sounds like a British woman
Yeah.
cosplaying. Yeah.
Best director, Sean Baker for Honora, Bradley Corbet for The Brutalist, James Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Emilia Perez, Corley Farge for The Substance, with Corbet now being the heavy favorite, followed by Jacques. Uh, it's like in my brain, I think the two snubs here are Denny for Dune and Berger for Conclave. Like both those movies getting noms and like the amount of effort that goes into those, like the sheer importance of those movies being in the director's work. I feel like the fact that they're not nominated is crazy. And the fact that again, the the fucking Emilia Perez is a bad movie. Audiard getting nominated to me is crazy. I think again, we talked about The Substance. The Substance is like a fine movie. I don't think that it is like best movie of the year territory really at all. Like it's to me, it's like that is a good movie. That's like just it's like outside of the top 10 for me. But like, man, dude.
Hmm.
And but then Corbet, I think he did do a very, very good job, and it was a very super impressive movie. So I get him being the big favorite. But again, Perez should not. I don't think should be here. I don't think The Substance should be here. I think absolutely Conclave and Dune Part Two should be here.
Yeah, I'll push back. I do think Farja should be here. I think that's a pretty impressive debut feature, and that's the kind of feature that, especially as a first movie, really takes the Academy by storm. Fucking James Mangold being here is
Yes,
almost just as bad as Emilia Perez being here. It's just a very like it's a well-directed movie, don't
you need
get
a
me
turkey
wrong, but
sandwich.
exactly. Exactly. Does Dune Part 2 work in like how many other directors can pull off Dune Part 2?
Like two, not even. Think about the sci-fi world. Not really any.
Exactly. It's like maybe Cameron, maybe,
Maybe Cameron,
maybe.
maybe like Neil Blomkamp, like maybe, but even then, no, no, no.
No. So like Denny not being here is actually absurd. It's starting to make me believe in a conspiracy theory that I had in a dream last night. The Academy is just being overtaken by like actual French, like native Frenchmen, and they hate the Quebecians. They fucking hate them.
They hate
And so Denny's
Canadians.
getting
Yeah.
punished for it. Denny's getting punished. Dune Part 2 is getting punished. And these fucking Canadians, or not Canadians, these Frenchmen they're in the academy. They're seeping their way in somehow. And they're yeah, like I mean, even Coralie Farsha, isn't she French?
Yes.
Like I might be on to something. I
I
might be
actually
on
don't
to
think you're
something.
wrong, especially this year.
Because like, how the fuck is Emilia Perez coming away with 13? I cannot stress this enough. 13 nominations. They have
For
three more
that
than
movie.
anyone else, right?
Like it is
Like not a
it,
movie that like not just audience. It's not like you're not going crazy if you're listening at home. You're like, I haven't spoken to anyone who liked it. I haven't spoken to anyone who likes it. And I speak to like people who watch hundreds of movies a year. This isn't hitting with like the critical crowd at all, at least in America. I don't get it.
it nobody I don't think anyone understands it. And it's such a weird it's a mystery. And like again, you think about the amount of effort that goes into these other movies and it's just hard to reconcile that. And it was weird because like it would almost make sense if it was like the turkey sandwich movie. Like if it's fucking a complete unknown where it's like that's just kind of built for this sort of thing. It's solid. It's about like a legacy guy, whatever. Like sure, Emilia Perez is like this big fucking weird mess that nobody likes, and I don't get it. I just nothing about it makes sense to me. But yeah, I think that's kind of surprising though. Those two snubs. I kind of think like John Chu not getting nominated was kind of like not that I wanted him to, but I'm kind of surprised.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm
again, not it's
happy he
not
didn't get
bad.
nommed,
Just
but it's not like
surprised that
his
he didn't.
replacement was better.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would have loved to see like just going down through the list. I would have loved to see George Miller, honestly, for Furiosa.
yeah,
I think he did a really. I think it's directed fantastically, despite like my few minor issues with it. The more I've rewatched it, what twice now, loved it more on every single rewatch. I think it's really, really well done. A Real Pain would have been interesting there. Nickel Boys,
yeah.
in terms of direction, fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot here that I think got left off in favor of some stuff that I don't think really belongs. But
There
it
are
is what
three
it is.
directors on here where I don't there or on here that I just don't get it. Like again, I'll
Two
push
for
back.
me,
I think
but
Barget like that's a good movie. I'm not debating that. And for a debut, sure, yeah, absolutely. But like when you compare that to the amount of director influence that goes into Dune Part Two, or the amount of director influence that goes into Conclave, and like how much is like important to the success of it, especially with Dune being a fucking mega blockbuster that plays both it makes money and critics love it, audiences love it. Like that is to me a totally different ball game. You know what I mean? Like we're talking about like major leagues versus like a fucking minor league guy. You know what I mean? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
yeah. Let's get to the big one. One left. One category
Best
left.
Picture. Best Picture. Uh, our nominations are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. As of right now, The Brutalist is predicted to win, followed not that far behind by Conclave and Emilia Perez, and then Anora, and then Wicked. The there's someone here where I'm like, I'm glad they made it in. Like, I would say Nickel Boys, like
Mhm.
that's one I didn't
Yeah.
expect to make it. And since I've seen it, I was like, whoa, like that is very fucking interesting movie. I'm happy that made it. Pissed Amelia Perez made it. Because again, it's not just like that. It was like a movie that was blah that an Academy would love, like the Complete Unknown or whatever.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's a bad movie.
I think it's poor. I think it's like poorly made. Like I think
Yeah,
it's a poorly made
like
movie. Like
an
that's
actively
the thing. Like
not good movie.
I don't find really outside of Carlos Sofia Gaston, I don't find really any of the performances all that great. The cinematography I don't find great. Like it kind of tries in spots, but outside that, like I mean, the fucking vaginoplasty scene, the song, that number is done in the same goddamn hospital room set that they used for like Venom 2. Like it is
Yep.
not a very well constructed film.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm really getting lost on it. It's baffling.
Yeah,
It's
I,
frustrating.
I'm kind of very my number one on the year being a real pain. It got not getting nominated, but Amelia Perez making it, and again like the Substance making it. And again, I don't want to act like I'm totally shitting on the Substance. It's just like what movie? It's all relative, right? Like the Substance is a million times better than a lot of other like even movies on that we've mentioned earlier in these lists. Like I think Sing Sing was better than Wicked. I think like some of these other movies, I don't get how they didn't make a push.
Sing
Uh,
Sing is a movie that wins Best Picture like 10 years ago. Like that's a lock
mhm.
if they campaign it correctly.
Yeah.
Like it's a great movie, well acted across the board, an ensemble cast full of unknowns, a star that's kind of deserving at this point, or at least a hot star, subject matter that's kind of pertinent to everyone. It's shocking how hard A24 dropped the ball in this movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Out of this grouping, I think if I were to pick like my personal feelings, like what do I think was like the best movie out of this, best movies out of this grouping? Totally fine with The Brutalist, totally fine with Conclave, Honora, Dune Part Two. Everything else just kind of like Nickel Boys I don't think it's best picture of the year. Those that grouping I think is all very deserving.
yeah, I mean the only few that I really have a problem with are Emilia Perez and Wicked. I don't think really belong in the Best Picture category. A Complete Unknown, I get it. I
Yeah.
get why it's in there because it's just traditional like Academy slop. Also, don't really feel that that should be anywhere close to a Best Picture category. It's a shame because it just takes out movies that are really fucking fantastic, big stuff that you could put it in there. Like, I mean, sorry, I have my best of list. I mean, yeah, there's Sing Sing. I would even say Furiosa. Nosferatu would be an interesting pick. Challengers would be an interesting pick. Fucking Dee Dee. I mean, like,
Different Man could be up
there's,
there. Like,
there's a different man. Yes, there's a lot of other directions they could have gone other than nominating shit like A Complete Unknown, Wicked, Emilia Perez. The other ones I feel are very much deserving. Um, but this
yeah.
is looking at the nom list. I think it's fair to say it's been a weak year, right?
Overall, yeah.
Maybe not weak, but average. Nothing. stellar. It's not like one of those classic years where it's like, holy shit, this all came out in the same year. Um, Solid year, I guess. If I had to pick one, Doom Part Two. Doom Part Two would be my winner. If I had to award it myself, if I'm not picking, I think Anora is good money.
Yeah.
I think I think the campaign will pick up quite a bit. I think people overreacted quite hard to the Golden Globes. I think it still stands a really good chance in a lot of these categories.
If I had to guess what was going to win, I would say that The Brutalist has a pretty fucking good chance just because of all the
Yeah, I think the Brutalist will probably win.
yeah, all the attached wins, the attached nominations, the I feel like people just like that sort of shit, man. People like those type of movies and it's a good movie too. That's on top of all that, which makes me happier that it is a betting favorite here. So yeah, that's all our nominations this year. I'll throw it out there because I throw it out there every year. The Google Doc was started for the Oscars. The Go-
Again,
the Google Start Doc
should
started,
we just
and
wrap 3 years worth of 3 years worth of movies into this one award show?
yeah, I did start the Google Doc. And I was trying to think of maybe this would help for this year. I conscripted Owen to see if he would be interested in helping us write it, which I think could be huge.
Could be. I'll be in New York in 2 weeks
Maybe we could just do it then.
for a week. Yeah.
Let me talk to
So
Owen about it.
could be.
I'll just say the doc was started. That's all I'm saying. The doc was started. I'm not promising anything, but I'm saying that we will definitely be doing the Oscars this year. That's what I'll say. Just
Okay.
keep it in mind. All right, so that's the episode. We will see you guys next week. And again, I think we said we are going to see what was it? Damn it, it was something good. What did we say we were to watch for next week?
Y'all need a pilot.
Yeah, something good, like I mentioned. Fucking flight plan or whatever. All right, we'll see you guys later. Fucking Scott Stapp, what a name. Can you imagine they busted him out for Super Bowl just to do that bullshit from the Cowboys game just one last time?
Feels like something they would do, to be honest.
That would be like the
Like
coolest
five,
thing they
like
could possibly do.
but what they'll do is they'll wait until like 2032 when the
Yeah,
joke is like run its course and is completely like no one gives a fuck anymore, like they did with the SpongeBob thing.
exactly.
Like they waited like 8 years to do it.
Dude, it feels like even longer. Like that Bubble Bowl episode is probably like 2000. It might have been like literally pre 9/11 when the Bubble Bowl episode was. Because people forget SpongeBob started in like 98. Band Geeks aired September 7th, 2001. Oh my God.
Right at the buzzer.
Right at the fucking buzzer. That's unbelievable.
Dude, this just unlimited hope core
Yeah.
right before one of the most tragic events in American history.
Can you imagine that? You're rocking out to Sweet Victory or whatever, and then like 2 days later, you're like, oh no.